My name is Ann Wiley, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow here in the bird division. I started about a year ago, and I'm coming from Michigan. I actually had connections with the Smithsonian before I submitted an application. I've been working with folks here during the time when I was getting my PhD. So I knew researchers here. I was interested in continuing to work with them, but also I knew that it would be quite wonderful to work with the amazing collections here, because my research is focused on using isotope signals, a kind of chemical signal from bird tissues. So having samples, having a large number of birds is sort of a prerequisite for the kind of work that I do. My research is focused on a species of seabird called the Hawaiian petrel, and I actually have a Hawaiian petrel right here. These guys nest out in the Hawaiian Islands, but they have a really amazing foraging distribution. They're found from the equator all the way up to near the Hawaiian Islands and even the Aleutian Islands, so about 50 degrees of latitude. They cover an area larger than the size of the continental US, and birds regularly fly thousands of kilometers out at sea. They also spend most of their lives there, feeding on fish and squid, and whatever they can find, essentially. So my research is based on the foraging ecology of the species, so I'm interested in what the birds eat, where they're finding it, and how that has changed over time due to human influence, things like fishing. One of the questions that I started to work on before I got to the Smithsonian, but that I've been continually interested in, is what has happened to the trophic level, that is the position on the food web or the food chain where these birds feed. What has happened to the trophic level of the Hawaiian petrel through time? Specifically, I've been interested in how the diet of this bird has changed through the past 4,000 years about. We know that humans have made some pretty substantial impacts to food webs near shore, where we do most of our fishing, but about 50 years ago we started going out in very large numbers and at a large scale fishing the middle of the oceans. And so I'm really interested in what the Hawaiian petrel can tell about how those food webs in the middle of the ocean have been impacted. So the idea is that the Hawaiian petrel has done what scientists have had a very difficult time doing. That is, it's gone out to the middle of the ocean and captured what's been available to it, what fish and squid have been widely available. And it's been doing this for thousands of years. And it actually provides a record of what it's found for us in the chemical composition of its tissues and its bones and its feathers. So we can take bones that are thousands of years old from the species, look at the chemical composition, stable isotope values. We can radiocarbon date those bones, and we can get an idea of what birds back in time were able to find out in the middle of the open ocean. I've been going out to the Hawaiian Islands with Helen James, who is a curator here, and I've been doing that for the last 5 years about. So since before I came here as a fellow, but I've continued my trips out there as a fellow, and they're really fascinating. We get to go to a variety of different cave sites where there are fossil and subfossil bones of Hawaiian petrels, but also a number of birds that have gone extinct out in the Hawaiian Islands, and you just never know what you're going to find. And I think each trip is an adventure. It often involves rappelling down into caves and spending your days in cave darkness, but it's definitely fun stuff. And I've loved going to the Hawaiian petrel colonies and getting some glimpses of the species. They're extremely elusive on land. They only come to land at night, and they only come to these very remote locations up in mountains. So they're difficult to see, but it's been amazing to meet the people who work with them on a regular basis and work to try to save the species since it is endangered and disappearing. There's an amazing diversity of birds here to work on, and so a fantastic thing about being a fellow here is there are a lot of opportunities to start new projects. maybe a group of mirrors will come into the museum to be prepared into specimens for the collections, and if you have a good study question that involves mirrors, then you can start a new project because there are all your samples. So there's that diversity of material you have to work with and the option to start new projects. There are people here with fantastic ideas. I think that the researchers here tend to be very well known, and so it's amazing to be surrounded by good creative minds like that as well.